All right, we're live. Okay, so to recap on what we've read so far on day one, uh, Bansier was sitting on a ledge with his best friend there, and they were just talking about why they're so broke when they work hard and just stuff like that. So we're gonna continue. So let's go. Would I know? Would I knew an answer, Kobe replied. No better than thou am I satisfied. My earnings from my lyre are quickly gone. Often must I plan and scheme that my family be not hungry. Also, within my breast is a deep longing for a lyre large enough that it may truly sing the strains strains of music that do surge through my mind. With such an instrument could I make music finer than even the king has heard before. Such a lyre thou should have. No man in all Babylon could make it sing more sweetly, could make it sing so sweetly. Not only the king, but the gods themselves would be delighted. But how mayest thou secure it while we both of us are as poor as the king's slaves? Listen to the bell. Here they come. He pointed to the long column of half-naked, sweating water-bearers plodding laboriously up and up the narrow street from the river. 5 abreast they marched, each bent under a heavy goatskin of water. A fine figure of a man, he who doeth lead them, Kobe indicated the wearer of the bell who marched in front without a load. A prominent man in his own country, 'tis easy to see. There are many good figures in the line, Bansier agreed. As good men as we, tall, blond men from the north, laughing black men from the south, little brown men from the nearer countries, all marching together from the river to the gardens, back and forth, day after day, year after year, not of happiness to look forward to, beds of straw upon which to sleep, hard grain porridge to eat. Pity the poor brutes, Kobe. Pity them I do, yet thou doest make me see how little better off are we, freemen, thought though we call ourselves. That is truth, Kobe. Unpleasant thought though it be, we do not wish to go on year after year living slavish lives, working, 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 getting nowhere. Might we not find out how others acquire gold and do as they do? Kobe inquired. Perhaps there is some secret we might learn if we but sought from those who knew, replied Bansier thoughtfully. This very day, suggested Kobe, I did pass our old friend Arcad, riding in his golden chariot. This I will say, he did not look over my humble head, as many in his station might consider his right. Instead, he did wave his hand, that all onlookers might see him pay greetings and bestow his smile of friendship upon Kobe, the musician. He is claimed to be the richest man in all Babylon, Bansier mused. So rich the king is said to seek his golden aid in affairs of the treasury, Kobe replied. So rich, Bansier interrupted, I fear if I should meet him in the darkness of the night, I should lay my hands upon his fat wallet. Nonsense, reproved Kobe. A man's wealth is not in the purse he carries. A fat purse quickly empties if there be no golden stream to refill it. Arcad has an income that consistently keeps his purse full, no matter how liberally he spends. Income, that is the thing. ejaculated Bansir. I wish an income that will keep flowing into my purse, whether I sit upon the wall or travel to far lands. Arcad must know how a man can make an income for himself. Dost suppose it is something he could make clear to a mind as slow as mine? Methinks he did teach his knowledge to his son, no Messire. His son, no Messire, Kobe responded. Did he not go to Nineveh? And so it is told at the inn, became without aid from his father one of the richest men in that city? Kobe, thou bringest to me a rare thought. A new light gleamed in Bansir's eyes. It cost nothing to ask wise advice from a good friend, and Arcad was always that. Never mind though our purses be as empty as the falcon's nest of a year ago. Let that not detain us. We are weary of being without gold in the midst of plenty. We wish to become men of means. Come, let us go to Arcad and ask how we also may acquire incomes for ourselves. Thou speakest with true inspiration, Bansir. Thou bringest to my mind a new understanding. Thou makest me to realize the reason why we have never found any measure of wealth. We never sought it. Thou hast labored patiently to build the staunchest chariots in Babylon. To that purpose was devoted our best endeavors. Therefore, at it thou didst succeed. I strove to become a skillful lyre player, and at it I did succeed. In those things toward which we exerted our best endeavors, we succeeded. The gods were content to let us continue thus. Now, at last, we see a light, bright like that from the rising sun. It beateth us to learn more, that we may prosper more. With a new understanding, we shall find honorable ways to accomplish our desires. Let us go to Arcad this very day, Bansir urged. Also, let us ask other friends of our boyhood days who have fared no better than ourselves to join us, that they too may share in his wisdom. Thou wert ever thus thoughtful of thy friends, Bansir. Therefore hast thou many friends. It shall be as thou sayest. We go this day and take them with us. All right, that was the end of chapter 1. Chapter 2, The Richest Man in Babylon. In old Babylon, there once lived a certain very rich man named Arcad. Far and wide he was famed for his great wealth. Also was he famed for his liberality. He was generous in his charities. He was generous with his family. He was liberal in his own expenses. But nevertheless, each year his wealth increased more rapidly than he spent it. And there were certain friends of younger days who came to him and said, You, Arcad, are more fortunate than we. You have become the richest man in all Babylon while we struggle for existence. You can wear the finest garments, and you can enjoy the rarest foods, while we must be content if we can clothe our families in remnant that is presentable and feed them as best we can. Yet once we were equal. We studied under the same master. We played in the same games, and in neither the studies nor the games did you outshine us. And in the years since, you have been no more an honorable citizen than we, nor have you worked harder or more faithfully in so far as we can judge. Why then should a fickle fate single you out to enjoy all the good things of life and ignore us who are equally deserving? Thereupon Arcad remonstrated with them, saying, if you have not acquired more than a bare existence in the years since we were youths, it is because you either have failed to learn the laws that govern the building of wealth, or else you do not observe them. Fickle fate is a vicious goddess who brings no permanent good to anyone. On the contrary, she brings ruin to almost every man upon whom she showers unearned gold. She makes wanton spenders who soon dissipate all they receive and are left beset by overwhelming appetites and desires they have not the ability to gratify. Yet others whom she favors become misers and hoard their wealth, fearing to spend what they have, knowing they do not possess the ability to replace it. They further are beset by fear of robbers and doom themselves to lives of emptiness and secret misery. Others there probably are, who can take unearned gold and add to it and continue to be happy and content citizens, but so few are they. I know of them but by hearsay. Think you of the men who have think you of the men who have inherited sudden wealth, and see if these things are not so. His friends admitted that of the men they knew who had inherited wealth, these words were true, and they besought him to explain to them how he had become possessed of so much property. So he continued, in my youth I looked about me and saw all the good things there were to bring happiness and contentment, and I realized that wealth increased the potency of all these. Wealth is a power. With wealth, many things are possible. One may ornament the home with the richest of furnishings. One may sail the distant seas. One may feast on the delicacies of far lands. One may buy the ornaments of the gold worker and the stone polisher. One may even build mighty temples for the gods. One may do all these things and many others in which there is delight for the senses and gratification for the soul. And when I realized all this, I declared to myself that I would claim my share of the good things of life. I would not be one of those who stand afar off, enviously watching others enjoy. I would not be content to clothe myself in the cheapest raiment that looked respectable. I would not be satisfied with the lot of a poor man. On the contrary, I would make myself a guest at this banquet of good things. Being, as you know, the son of a humble merchant, one of a large family, with no hope of an inheritance, and not being endowed, as you have so frankly said, with superior powers or wisdom, I decided that if I was to achieve what I desired, time and study would be required. As for time, all men have it in abundance. You each of you have let slip by sufficient time to have made yourselves wealthy. Yet you admit you have nothing to show except your good families, of which you can be justly proud. As for study, did not our wise teacher teach us that learning was of two kinds? The one kind being the things we learned and knew, and the other being in the training that taught us how to find out what we did not know. All right, that's the end of day 2, and we'll pick up chapter 2 tomorrow. All right, have a good one.